You know, that's where the problem is. The local cities were doing a great job. I mean, Riverside, Corona, you know, and it's just my opinion, but a lot of the cities share the same thing. Is they really need to be able to make those decisions themselves with their programs, with that money, not have the state direct what they can and can't do toward economic development locally.
Absolutely, and so that's something that I certainly understand. I wasn't here when the governor did that, but you know, I know that the challenges that our local cities and communities do face because of it. So I believe that your concerns on that should hopefully be addressed in this housing package.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
My question is more of a health thing on the Eastville area, the methane issue. What are they doing to address that, the future health issues that might occur? Obviously, there's natural methane from all the manure that's been there for decades, right? And they obviously can't dig enough to get it out to bring the dirt in. It still seeps through. What are they doing? Is there any plan of addressing that in the future? What's going to happen? You know, because our CCNRs tell you, but they're not that clear what could potentially happen in the future, and then the city could get sued, and you know, what have you.
Can you repeat the question?
Give us a synopsis.
So the city of Eastville, right, was a bed for cows, and it has a lot of manure. So they took a lot of dirt out. They brought new dirt in. So the methane still seeps through, and obviously there's health issues for children, seniors, adults, so on. So we don't know what is going to happen over time. How long is it going to take? What type of issues what type of things are we doing to protect ourselves from potential?
So for those of you that are familiar with the city of Eastville, right behind it we also have the city of Chino, which I know that that has only been brought up to me one other time before, and that was probably 2 years ago or so by a resident in Eastville. I actually just sat down with the city manager of Eastville. We were talking about what the new developments that are going to be coming in, Amazon Fulfillment Center, Costco, and a few other small businesses that they're trying to drive there, perhaps healthcare facilities. But that conversation I have not had with the city council members or with the city manager. But what we can certainly do is connect you with folks. Are you an Eastville resident by chance?
Yeah.
We can certainly connect you with your local electeds, and we could be part of that discussion if you would like. One of the great organizations that we do have in our backyard, which is in my district, is CCAEJ, which is an environmental advocacy group. In 2 cities in my district, there's 2 toxic waste sites. The Department of Toxic Substance, correct, thank you, is currently undergoing studies in portions of my district, which Riverside, Orlanza community, and in Jurupa Valley. So we are already dealing with 2 toxic sites and working with the department and how we are going to address those later down the line. And so if that's a concern that you have, we can certainly sit down and discuss it further and hear the plans, because that's something that, as I mentioned, has only been raised here tonight, this morning, the 2nd time.
Thank you.
But truly a concern, I hear you.
Now that you brought up toxic waste, toxic waste. I live out in Norco, and Wiley Labs just around that corner from me. And they've been having trucks out there for recently, like 3 and 4 days. I mean, a lot of manpower, a lot of hours. And I'm just wondering, they told us at one point in time that there's no harm, no problem, you know, everything's fine. But now I'm beginning to wonder, because of the, you know, like I say, this renewed investigation and drilling all these holes out there and all this and that. And we can't ever get a definite answer. They always have some kind of a side answer about the Wiley Labs. Do you know any further on that?
So one thing I do want to mention is that a lot of these things we can work on at a constituent service level. My office provides constituent services on any state-related matter, but if it's not state-related, we're able to address it at the local level, collaborating with our locals, which is why it's so important to have good relationship building. So what we'll do is, I don't know anything about that in particular, but afterwards, if we can get your information, and let's go ahead and connect with the Norco City Council members, if that's something that you'd like to do.
Well, I know them all, and they've told me about the same thing.
And so again, like I said, what I can do myself is either meet with them and hear from them, because I haven't addressed that issue, and that could be my commitment to you is sitting down and meeting with the council and whoever else I need to get an update on what's happening.
Sounds good, thank you.
Sorry. So two things actually. Number one is, can you work on allowing, the guidelines for lenders, allowing lenders to exclude property tax that's on postponement status from their qualifying debt-to-income ratio when we approve people?
That would be on the federal side.
Yeah.
That's on the federal side? Okay. Okay. On the state side, would you be able to work on, if you can kindly work on, right now there is disabled veterans tax exemption of, I think, 100,000 and 150,000, but the veterans is to be 100% disabled. Is there any way to flex that a little bit, maybe not 100% disabled?
I'm glad you're talking to me about that. I would love to see if there's anything we can do as it relates to veterans, as I mentioned, whatever we can do in that arena, as it is one of my top priorities, not just this legislative session, but moving forward. So we can connect on those two policy matters and see what we can do for next legislative session.
No other questions?
So I could see that there's no questions right now at the moment, but what I would love to do is I would encourage you, if something does come to mind, I have my offices here in Corona, and I would love to invite you out on August 17th, to our open house. It's going to be a full service wraparound where you can get constituent assistance. We work on cases, whether it's home modifications, DMV issues, SSI, veterans benefits. Come reach out to us. It's, oftentimes folks don't really understand all the services that a state assembly office can provide. And I just wanted to come by, say hello, and hopefully have another opportunity to come back. So thank you for your time.
All right. Hey, you know what? And I love questions like you had, Christian. You kind of made me think, because hey, we've all spent time out in Eastvale, whether we live out there or we're showing homes or whatever, and could that be a potential health concern? I don't know. That's way above my pay grade, but it's a fair question to ask, and we probably need to ask those kind of questions. And Larry, also, I liked your question in that, because I remember for a while the Wiley Lab thing was a big deal, and it was a big disclosure, and then it just kind of went away. And so, is it not a concern anymore, or is it, and they're just not talking about it? So, I mean, that's the kind of things we need to know for the health and safety of our communities. So, good questions, and as she mentioned, you start at the local level, but then if we can have some state muscle to help maybe push those questions a little harder if you're not getting any answers, it sounds like we have a partner. So I do thank our newest assembly member for being here today, and as I mentioned, I mean, hey, we're not all going to agree on everything, but Realtor Party issues, we're good so far, and they have pledged to working with us. So let's move on to next week's speaker. Is someone who I consider kind of a friend, and I think he's an amazing speaker, and that is Aaron Norris, who will be here to talk about technology and how it affects our business. And I mean, he is a whiz, so do not miss that. It'll be interesting, it'll be thought-provoking, and I guarantee you will learn something. Moving on next, MLS.